Hello, everybody, and welcome to episode 3 of...
Malakai Black! Holy shit! Malakai Black! I'm so excited.
Josh is excited. Well, welcome to episode 3 of Deadhorses and DDTs. I am your host, Cody White. The asshole who just interrupted is Josh Weber.
That's me. Malakai Black, fanboy number 1.
Josh, we'll let you start with Malakai Black. Yeah, we'll let you start there.
How do I start there, man? Well, this is my first experience with Malakai, Alistair, Tommy. What he's Malakai here, whatever you want to call him. I mean, I got chills from his entrance. I mean, his entrance is so cool. His music is so fucking good. I was just listening to that song today just because I rewatched the match for the 4th time, and I was like, holy fuck, that song's so good. I mean, what a great debut, and I'm so excited to see where they take him. I mean, that was a great match. It was exactly what he said it was going to be. He was just going to beat the fucking shit out of Cody and just make an example of him. It was great. I mean, I'm so high on it. I've been listening to stuff about him all week. I watched some like history of his career and stuff on YouTube. I'm drinking it in, man. He's my guy.
Hell yeah.
My new favorite wrestler, far and away. I'm so excited.
He's incredible. I mean, the entrance was longer than the match, which didn't take anything away from it. It was still a phenomenal match. He came in, was violent as hell, and that's what we expected. But yeah, his entrances are just phenomenal. This was cool. Prior to this, WWE, he did Code Orange and Incendiary, big hardcore guy. So it was incredible. That mask.
Oh, it's
that
just
mask
so cool.
with the horns. I'm gonna have to buy one. You know I'm going to. I'm gonna have to. I need it.
I had an All the Fakes Are Snakes shirt in my cart this weekend and forgot to pull the trigger while they still had their 20% off sale going.
Oh man,
that's coming. This is now officially just a Malakai Black fanboy podcast. We're not going to talk about anything else. What did he eat for breakfast?
I hear he eats only snakes.
Oh yeah,
I read that somewhere. I'm not making that up. Promise.
Snakes don't really have parts, but if I had to guess, I'd say that's his knee.
Yeah, well, I mean, let's start there. I mean, I guess he beat Cody into retirement, so we'll see what happens there.
Yeah, that was an interesting thing.
I was gonna say he started tonight with a promo where he's got one boot, talking about Cody Rhodes having one boot in the grave and wants to put the other one there. So we'll see if that means there's another Rhodes Black match coming or what, or if Cody Rhodes is really done.
I could see it. I could understand it. It was certainly, I don't think anybody was expecting that to happen. That was pretty surprising. And then obviously on top of the surprise was Black not letting him finish that. So to see where that goes is intriguing.
I like dragging out a retirement speech. You know, he came out, passed the torch to whoever, and then gets hit with the crutch.
Yeah, that was kind of, what I said, what I put in my notes about that. That was the exact wording I used, is like, was that a sort of behind the scenes passing of the torch? Like Cody said, my face has been on everything for 3 years. I've been that guy, and he has. I mean, I didn't, even when I didn't watch AEW, I knew who Cody Rhodes was. He was totally that guy. So yeah, was that a little bit of like, they gave Black, well, what I thought when I was watching it was, they gave Black such a big dominant debut to show like he's the guy now. You know what I mean? Not that he's
your new face.
Right. So like, I don't know, but then obviously that speech doesn't end, and Cody takes a crutch to the back, and Malakai walks off with his boot. So, but man, holy shit! I mean, it was just so good, so exciting. Like I said, I've watched it back 4 times since last week. We talked last episode about when does Miro get a real opponent for his TNT title. And we know now, after Dynamite, which just wrapped up, that he's going to face Fuego del Sol on Friday. Fuego gets a contract if he wins. I know Fuego's a fan favorite. A lot of people would love him to see him get a contract. It would be cool if by some weird upset he gets it, but like on paper, he's not beating Miro. So, like, I think it would be awesome to see Black make a push for the TNT title. Like, Black is the first guy that Miro is like worried about and afraid of. And also, I can't take credit for this. This didn't even dawn on me, but I was listening to the Elite Maniac podcast. Shout out to Kings Road Wrestling, who I shouted out before. That's how I found that podcast. And his buddy WrestleManiac UK. I was listening to their most recent episode on Black's debut. And they said, it might have been them or somebody in their chat because they do it live, but they said, like, you've got Miro with this Redeemer, God's favorite champion, God complex kind of thing. It's God versus the devil. You know what I mean? If you get that feud between him and Black going, I think he's a worthy opponent of Miro. Is the only. I just want to get it on wax now that, like, I'm saying, if they push that, we called it here that we thought maybe that would happen. I could see it.
Yeah, no, that's I brought that up today during stream, twitch.tv/2forcegaming Wednesdays. Thank you. That I could see that happening, and I'd love to see that happening. My only concern is the TNT Championship above Black at this point? I don't think so. I think TNT Championship needs to be the face of Dynamite, more so than the AEW, World Championship. I think that needs to be the overall. Switch it back and forth between Rampage and Dynamite.
And you think Rampage is going to get its own belt, right? We've been talking about that.
I don't think it'll be right away. I think it'll wait till it's a longer, because right now it's only an hour long. I don't see them doing a whole lot with it. I don't know how long it's going to be, an hour, but I think what they're going to do eventually is probably integrate into one YouTube show, use the extra hour for Rampage. But we'll see. I don't know. They're moving to TBS. Both Dynamite and Rampage are moving to TBS next year, so we'll see what happens there. I think time frames are going to stay the same, but I don't think anybody's staying up from 10 to midnight every week, and I think that's why they're keeping it short.
Yeah, I think you're right.
I would love for them to get that WCW Saturday slot, that 6:30 to 8:30 slot would be perfect on a Saturday. That would just make me so happy. I was going to use other words, but
let's keep it PG-13.
Yeah.
If I didn't say holy fucking shit 15 seconds into the podcast.
Hey, you know what? That's PG-13.
I'll bleep myself in post-production. Oh, what else? But before we go away from the Malakai Cody match, just a fun little thing to mention. There's all, Ric Flair released from his WWE contract. There's all this talk of that promo that the Elite cut, that Gallows was wearing a Ric Flair jacket, and like, are they alluding to something? And then Cody obviously does the figure four, like that's one of his finishers that he does. But he let out the iconic woo before hitting it, the Nature Boy woo, and I wanted to mention that just as a thing. It just seems like he hasn't done it, in the past several times that he's hit it, but he happens to hit it the week that Ric Flair rumors are flying around, but maybe that's exactly why he hits it.
Yeah, right.
I don't know. That's worth mentioning. That's nothing we have to spend more than 10 seconds on, but
nope. I'm gonna say, as soon as Ric Flair had the meeting with Jim Ross, I said, Ric Flair to AEW, and then what's he do? Ask for a release, gets it, and we'll see in 90 days.
Yep.
His might be less. His might be less than that. I don't know what his contract is, but we'll see him eventually. I think he's going to be more than AEW. I think he's going to, show up on Impact, show up everywhere. I mean, Ric Flair is wrestling.
Totally.
You've never watched wrestling before. You know who Ric Flair is.
Yeah.
You know who Hulk Hogan is. You know those big guys. Happy birthday, Hulk.
Is it his birthday?
It is. It is his birthday.
I did not know that.
Yeah, so Ric Flair, that's good. And while we're at it, we might as well get into WWE releases.
Yeah, totally.
Ric Flair being the biggest one. Bray Wyatt was in there.
Yep.
We would like to see him, obviously, with AEW, but who knows where he'll go. We'd like to see him head the Dark Order we were talking about.
That's all the calls are Bray Wyatt to lead the Dark Order now, Exalted One 2.0.
Yeah, which makes sense. Obviously, him and Brody Lee were good friends from WWE days, prior to WWE days. It'd be emotional, to say the least, I think. I think I would definitely let some tears out with Bray Wyatt coming. He was definitely my favorite WWE wrestler of the past 3 years.
Yeah.
So we'll see. We'll see what's up with that. On that news, NXT Purge.
Big NXT Purge. Yeah.
WWE released 12 wrestlers from NXT. Just mid-card guys, but I think girls, but at the same time, you're like, why?
Yeah, what's going on over there? I mean, we talked about it. The pandemic definitely hurt them over there, but
yeah, I don't know, man. It's what's being said is they're going in a new direction.
Mm-hmm.
NXT is getting absolutely demolished by AEW. I think they're going to take it from a development. I think they're going to try to make it right there with Raw and SmackDown. I think it's going to be a main card packed event, which will be good. It's good for wrestling.
Yeah.
It's good for fans.
No, totally. It's some differentiation in the market. I mean, when has wrestling in how many years has wrestling been as good as it is right now as far as diversification? You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's been since WWF, WCW, and TNA.
And Vince comes out and says, "I don't consider AEW on the same level as WCW back in the 90s or whatever." And it's like, well, maybe you should, because
definitely should.
Don't say you don't see him as competition when they're straight up beating you. I mean, it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, AEW last week was the first week they haven't been number one, and they got beat out by the Olympics. Like, you have to see it as competition. They just made you release 12 wrestlers. They just made you rebrand something that's been around for years. You don't just rebrand because they're not competition.
Yep, 100%.
You don't take budget cuts because they're not competition.
Yep.
It's something's going on. You're scared. I understand that, but don't talk shit. Like, why are you talking shit?
You're not saving face. Did you see the I think it had to do with NXT, and it was right after this big round of releases was it got leaked from somebody inside that the official memo that went out, and I'm quoting it verbatim here. This is not totally PC, but that's on WWE because it's their words. It said on NXT's roster, no more midgets and no one over 30 was what it said.
Oh.
Yeah. Isn't that crazy?
Yeah, that's one, not PC.
No, not even a little bit.
And two, leaking that, oof.
Yeah, I have a feeling that might have rubbed somebody internally the wrong way, and they were like, oh, hey, look what, I mean, who knows? That's inter-office politics shit. But
yeah, big stuff. So it's exciting for wrestling. I mean, you have 12 people now that aren't stuck with NXT. They can go anywhere they want to do. They can go to the indies. They can go to AEW. They can go Impact, Ring of Honor. There's just so much going on in the wrestling world that I'm excited. I'm excited to see a lot of them. I personally don't know many of the people that were released. I don't want to call them nobodies, but I think being with NXT may have hurt a lot of these people.
Sure.
I've watched very, very little NXT. I have not watched NXT since Aleister Black was on it, and I don't see myself going to watch it. So this may be a blessing in disguise for those wrestlers. Hopefully they all bounce back and get some solid jobs. I'm sure they will.
While we're on that subject of the great diversification and everything that's going on in wrestling right now, I watched a clip from Impact the other night. Good Brothers and Kenny Omega and Don Callis cutting a promo. I can't remember against who. It's neither here nor there. Frankie Kazarian comes out of the crowd, ends up he scares him off a little. I think got the shit beat out of him, whatever. But came after the Good Brothers on Impact, and the way that the gentleman commentating on Impact put it, was the forbidden door is wide open.
Yeah.
And obviously we know that to be true. And I think that's part of what's making everything so great right now. You've got the Bunny and Layla Hirsch last week fighting for contendership for the NWA women's title. Tonight, you've got Dark Order's Eva Luno and Stu Grayson fighting against the Good Brothers for the Impact Tag Team titles. Next, this Friday at Rampage, Christian is going to take on Kenny for the Impact title a few weeks ahead of their match for the AEW title at All Out. It's great. I think that's part of what's making it so good. And I think AEW is showing a good way to go about it. You know what I mean? They're not treating those other promotions as competition. They're treating them as like, it's pretty clearly like, hey, we've got, we're on network TV every week. We've got, this big budget kind of production. Help me help you. And in turn it helps everybody. It's great for the sport, which I think is to Tony Khan and all the minds over at AEW's credit for sure.
Yeah, especially Impact, because Impact is huge as well, and they haven't been competition since they were TNA. You know what I mean?
Yep.
It just hasn't been, and it's so good to see them back. And I hope they get on actual network television. They're on AXS, which is still on cable, I guess, but they're filming super early. They're doing a lot of filming
in batches.
Like we talk about in patches, and I just wanted to see them back to being Thursday night every night, every week, live. Get it back.
Yep.
It's so nice for this, and really splitting up contracts like that. Good Brothers are on contract with Impact, so AEW's not paying them to show up every week, and vice versa. You get Kenny Omega on Impact, you're drawing people to watch.
Oh yeah.
But you don't have to pay Kenny Omega to be on Impact.
Yep.
You're gonna let AEW pay him. It's a good way to split those contracts up, not overpay during a pandemic, and just let things roll. It's so nice. It's so nice. I mean, we've seen already Ring of Honor wrestlers on New Japan titles being fought for, NWA titles being fought for, Impact. Like, it's wide open. Like you said, it's there is no forbidden door.
Yep. Yeah, it's a forbidden doorway right now is all it is.
The only promotion that has a forbidden door is WWE. And this is either going to force them to be part of it, be part of the partnership, or be driven to being the outcast.
Yeah. I think there's too much pride over there for them to be a part of this. I mean, who knows what that could be. That you could almost argue that might ruin what makes this part great, right? I mean, that's how I feel. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Bringing WWE on it would be like I'm lacking a metaphor. Like the kid that your mom made you play with because like she was friends with their mom. And you're like, but I don't like that kid. I don't know. I was probably that kid actually, but
listen, Cody, you need to go hang out with Josh because his mom's having a sex toy party and I'm going. Okay, you just need to hang out with him for 10 minutes.
10 minutes. That's a hell of a dildo salesperson. Moving on. Speaking of former or NXT releases and moving on to bigger and better things, we got 2.0, 2 weeks in a row here. Former NXT guys teaming up with Daniel Garcia. They accompanied him to the ring tonight versus Darby, and they had a match with him trios match last week. Darby, Mox, and Kingston, which is a trios tag team that I want to see a hell of a lot more.
Every week, please.
Oh, fuck. It was so good, dude.
Incredible. And
so
Daniel
good.
Garcia. Buffalo Boy. Once again, we're always going to rep Buffalo Boys.
Yep.
Just incredible. Just an incredible talent. And I was just reading, actually, Kevin Blackwood, who trained with him and does a lot with him. He's just tweeted out, I literally watched Dan learn how to run the ropes. After our car accident, I saw him struggle to decide whether or not he wanted to come back to wrestling. That wasn't that long ago. Like, they got in a car accident. They were both in the hospital. It was bad. And seeing him come out and just be this, you know what I mean? This good and on national television is huge. I never got the chance to really watch him in the indies, really watch him in Buffalo shows, anything like that. But I know of him through social media, and it's just cool. It's just cool to see it, and I know Blade is out there repping him.
Yeah. Oh yeah. And he's getting a great push. I mean, they said Excalibur called out, tonight that between the matches he's wrestled on Dynamite and or Dark/Elevation, because I always get them mixed up or combined, and some indie stuff. He's done 6 matches in the past week or something like that. And AEW is pushing him hard. They put him out, against with 2.0 against that big tag team last week, and this week we got to see him against Darby. I mean, that's not nobody, and he looked great. I mean, he didn't walk away with the win. I wouldn't expect him to beat Darby just coming in, but he looked really good, and so did 2.0 in that tag match last week. I mean, a nice big push for some new faces.
Yeah, man, I'm excited for it. I almost think that he's going to take over for Blade in the singles. That way Butcher and Blade can get back to it.
They said, how excited are we? Butcher is coming back very, very soon, were the words that they used.
So we'll see. Maybe that first dance, they'll do something.
Maybe, hopefully.
Big news with AEW getting their I don't know if you were a trading card guy, but they Upper Deck signed them. Upper Deck is going to put out some AEW cards come October. I'm going to get every single pack. I'm going to buy a giant box of them.
I could be tempted to waste some money.
Oh, I'm going to keep them. I'm going to get a box. I'm going to keep half of them open. I'm going to open half of them and leave the rest closed. Let them gain some value.
Yeah.
Go from there.
Sure.
But I'm excited for that. Just remember growing up as a kid having wrestling cards, so WCW cards, and I'm excited. I'm going to pull it off as my kids.
There you go. You know what I had? I had one wrestling action figure. I don't know where I got it. And are you ready for this? Let's see. I will give you a guess. It's a 90s WWF star.
Hulk Hogan.
No, it was not Hulk Hogan. I do have a Hulk Hogan Christmas ornament, actually. It's him in Santa gear. I still hang it on the tree every year, and Kelsey gets pissed. For no reason. It's just like I've always put it on the tree because everybody always hates it, and I'm like, so he has to be on the tree. Ever since I was a kid, my parents didn't want him. I'd hang him like to the back of the tree. Anyway, no, it was not Hulk Hogan. That's I don't think you'll ever guess because it's so weird. It was one of Mick Foley's characters, but it wasn't Cactus Jack. It wasn't Mankind. I had a Dude Love action figure of all things, and he had a spring-loaded arm that you flipped the switch on his back, and he would go like this.
Oh my god, that's incredible.
I wonder whatever happened to it. I have no idea where I got it. Like, it's just one of those things I remember having as a kid. I doubt my parents bought it for me at the store because, yeah, I don't even know. It's anyway.
I probably left it at your house during a dildo party.
It's just Dude Love, man. You can have it. My dog chewed it.
It's got one arm, spring-loaded.
Yeah, he used to have 2 spring-loaded arms.
They do the action figures too, and I'd be lying if every time I go through Target I don't check. Today there was a Sheeta one that I almost bought, but I was like, I don't need that. If it's somebody I'm in love with, I'll take it. But
some of them make me laugh. They released that Dr. Britt Baker one a few weeks ago, and I saw it as soon as they posted it and thought, oh, it doesn't look like Britt Baker. And the first fucking Instagram comment in all caps was, "Who the fuck is that?" LOL. Just cracked me up.
Oh man.
I wanted to say before we got away, we already got away, but circling back to that trios match, Darby and Mox and Kingston versus 2.0 and Garcia. We talked about it on stream. How awesome is Darby's new intro video that we found out he collabed with Rooster Teeth on, and that's why it's so awesome. Does anybody else get shades of the Bart Simpson skateboarding game that used to be in the movie theater lobby? Because we both had that same thought separately.
Yeah.
Talked about that, but that I thought was great. Great moment from that match. Jeff Parker, I noticed it today. I rewatched Dynamite from last week just to refresh my memory. Jeff Parker comes up and hits Mox. Mox just eats it like he does, but Parker goes, "All right, I'm going to go." And he turns around to walk away, and Darby catches him. But it was just a great little moment that I didn't catch the first time. It made me laugh. He was like, "Okay, I'm just going to see myself out of the ring now."
Yeah, there's a lot of the I'm the new guy. You guys are legends. I'm gonna step back, especially the moment with Sting outside the ring, right before
Oh, and
Darby.
Darby just rocked his shit. Oh my god,
that was incredible. That was a good match, man. That was probably my favorite match of the night.
it was
Of that
great.
night, it was really good. Besides Malakai Black.
Oh yeah, I mean that was barely a match, but it was just so great. We went on enough about that. I think we don't need.
Yeah.
Next week on the Malakai Black fan podcast. No. And now we get from this little feud again another push for these new guys. We get now Sting and Darby versus 2.0 next week. I think it was next week.
I did not see that. That's good. That'll be fun. That'll be really fun.
Yeah, I think it was next week. I'd have to pull it up and look here, but it definitely is happening. I don't know when. We've been wrong before.
Yeah.
We'll just roll with it. What else? We're through the fourth labor of Jericho, and he wins as expected. We weren't sure quite how they were going to do it, but you called it pretty close.
Yeah, I said disqualification because why else? But instead, it ended up being MJF getting kicked out, Jericho sneaking in a bat, and doing his thing.
D-Bat. Floyd. Whatever that's about. I heard something interesting. It had to be that same podcast I was listening to. I don't know where else I would have heard it. Shout out again, I guess. Elite Maniac. Apparently, a lot of this whole Labors of Jericho thing, they're giving MJF creative reins on. Like Nick Gage was totally his idea, I guess. They referenced an interview with Brett Lauderdale, who owns Game Changer Wrestling, and said that MJF got a hold of him and was like, hey, we want to bring in Nick Gage for a match. So I thought that was kind of cool that
that's awesome.
That didn't come from somebody necessarily in creative, that a lot of it is MJF's idea.
Yeah, that's cool. I'm sure Juby was the same thing, and
yep,
he's phenomenal when it comes to creating matches. Obviously, you have to use AEW talent too, so we didn't get some cool match tonight, but it ended up being all right. It was good.
Yeah, it was good. I think we talked about it from week 2. The order just should have been different. You should have ended with Gage, which, maybe for other reasons they couldn't. It just kind of feels like it was like week 1, chair versus no chair. That's pretty cool. Week 2, holy shit, it's Nick Gage. This is only going to get crazier. And then, like, we talked about the Juventud thing. If that was your jam in WCW and that nostalgia was there for you, you probably liked it. Wasn't a super fascinating match otherwise, so it kind of downhill. And then he's like, Wardlow next week. And it's like, It ended up being good. It ended up being better than I thought, but we got through it. Now we get Jericho and MJF, and we'll see. I will say, I talked about it on stream, the Jericho countering the Hurricane Rana into the walls of Jericho off the top rope was super sweet and unexpected. I thought that was a really cool move. Did not see that coming as far as moves off the top rope go.
Next week, no Judas effect. No Judas.
Yeah, no. That's going to be cool because the whole crowd is still going to sing it. That's just going to be a neat little thing.
I think they're going to try to keep it silent. It's just going to be cheering or boos or whatever's going to happen.
We'll see. The no Judas effect is an okay stipulation.
Yeah, I mean that's how he's won every match.
Every one of these matches, I'm wanting just a little more out of, and it's not quite there, but that's okay.
Yeah, it'll be, I assume, not. I don't know if it'll be main event or what's going to happen. I don't remember what they said, but it'll be okay. It'll be okay.
Mm-hmm.
It's MJF. He's always fun to watch.
Yeah, and he's gold on commentary. Holy shit! Rewatching that match against Hoovy last week, and he's like these fat walruses here in Jacksonville, and whatever the hell else he said. I mean, he's the epitome of just great heel. He's so good at it.
Yeah.
What else? What else have we not talked about? We had a theory. We had a brief theory. You did. I shouldn't say we. I'm taking credit for your ideas. That maybe Hangman Page was going to make a push for Miro to rejoin the Elite. Get some gold. That was that whole thing about you don't fit. Look at all of us and look at you thing. That promo they cut in the ring.
Yeah.
But now we find out that Hangman was in fact injured during the repetitive BTE triggers. Through the same path as Ray Phoenix and John Moxley, which was something I brought up at the beginning of stream that was kind of a loose end, but they did tie it up this week and note that he's injured now, so he's going to be away a little bit.
Yeah, that quickly went away, that theory of mine, when we started talking about the potential of them all losing their titles.
Yeah, which maybe we're going to start seeing that. You know, it's
hopefully we start seeing that.
Kenny is a few weeks out of All Out, and he has the same number of titles right now as there are weeks to the pay-per-view. We're starting with the Impact title Friday on Rampage, so
yeah, we'll see what's up.
We'll see. Who knows?
Bringing the Elite into it. Match tonight was phenomenal. It was obviously the Elite versus I don't even remember now.
The Seidels and Dante Martin, and
that's right, Dante Martin and the Matt Seidel, and
one of the best opening matches in the last few weeks. And every week here, every podcast, we're talking about how great the opening match was, and I think that one was above and beyond the rest of them. It was great.
That was my favorite tonight, honestly. But something that bothered me about it, I don't like, and I said this during stream, I don't like people who have titles doing non-title matches. It doesn't make sense, and it's kind of I don't know, it's kind of like you don't deserve a title match, but you deserve to fight these guys. You know what I mean? Like, no, if I win, I want the title. If I beat you and I don't get a title, what's going on? So, and I saw I wasn't alone on that. Brock Lesnar had an interview, and that was his big talking point of the entire interview was he will not agree to any non-title matches from this point forward. He says it doesn't make sense if I beat the champion or if I'm the champion and I get beat, I'm passing the title. Like, there's no, why am I doing non-title matches? This doesn't make sense. It ruins the flow of everything. Obviously, tonight's worked out because it was really good, and then you had Christian, that announcement for All Out, and then the announcement for Friday for the Impact title.
Yep.
And then Jungle Boy and Luchasaurus getting the tag shot.
That's exciting. And yeah, I mean, we're looking at potential for the Elite to be losing gold. I mean, Jurassic Express are as good of a contender as any against the Bucks. Christian, we've watched them build toward that, and I would almost be shocked if he doesn't take it at All Out. So, you know, we'll see what happens in the coming weeks here. We'll see what happens Friday with the Impact title.
Yeah, I'd like to see him take one of the titles away, at least something away from Kenny Omega. You know, give him some sort of.
He needs to come down
doubt
a peg
in his head so he can stop being so.
Yep. He needs to get knocked down. I made a note here that from last week's episode that answered itself this week. What are we building towards with Andrade and the Lucha Brothers? And this week or in Death Triangle, I guess, whatever you want to say, but that culminated this week in an Andrade versus Pac match upcoming.
At All Out, right?
I think so. Yeah, that sounds right. I don't have that noted here, but that sounds right to me that I think it was All Out.
That'll be Andrade's first real match, I'd say.
Yeah, and he wins, and then what?
Who knows?
Then Death Triangle disbands, and it becomes, I don't know. At this point, I was totally against it because I love Pac and I love watching Death Triangle. They're a great trio, and I love the Lucha Brothers. I mean, they're so fun to watch. But I'm kind of starting to get like, I kind of want to see him with Andrade and see what happens. It just feels like it could fit. Maybe a little turn on Pac coming. I don't know.
Yeah, who knows? I could see them making a push for Pac to be a singles wrestler again and make a push for Lucha Brothers just to be tag. You know what I mean?
That was what Pac said in the promo tonight. He was like, I'm going to take care of Andrade. You guys need to focus on the tag titles.
So I like that. You know, split it up. There's not much going on for 3-person tag right now, so until you're getting title shots that way, what's the point? You know?
Yep.
Go after the TNT, go after whatever. Because Pac can be a TNT championship. I could see that. I'd like it on him. I'd like it on Andrade. I'd like it whoever. Mm-hmm. There's a lot of wrestlers that I would not mind seeing have that. Miro is just not one of them.
Malakai Black. Ah, do you hear the chants? While we're on the subject of Miro, I said it last episode. I said it during stream tonight. I'm still over the Miro beats the shit out of blank story. Now it ended up being a pretty good match, him versus Lee Johnson.
Yeah.
Lee Johnson had some good momentum shifts there, but it was just that thing. And then they cut that promo in, and I'm like, all right, what's coming? And it's like Fuego del Sol, and I'm like, fuck, man. It's because it's the same thing. He's gonna ragdoll Fuego, dude.
So here's my thing, and I watch Dark, so I know you don't. So Fuego is very much a Dark wrestler. You know what I mean? He's on that every week.
Mm-hmm.
He has been going through this stint where he can't get off his finisher. So, which he does a phenomenal, probably the best in the business, which is tough to say, of a tornado DDT. Does a phenomenal one. He can't get it off. So my prediction is that he gets it off. He finally is able to finish his tornado DDT, takes Miro out, and gets his title, gets his
contract.
He just signed a contract for Wrestler Card or some it's a app where you can kind of collect cards and you can fight with the cards and stuff. It's very strange. I haven't even downloaded it, but I'm going to. Just signed a contract with them, so I'm thinking there's a push for him. He's a fan favorite. There's something going on. They obviously want to give him a contract. Why not? You can take it from him the week after.
Mm-hmm.
Give him the contract. Give him something.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Storyline wise, because Fuego is such a fan favorite. I don't watch Dark. We just said that, and that's really only a time thing. I just can't. I can only fit in so much wrestling. We were just talking about it tonight. Like, if you wanted to, wrestling will overtake your life 100%. I can't sneak in Dark, especially now with Rampage starting. But that's neither here nor there. I pick up on it. I follow AEW on Insta. I catch some stuff. So the Fuego is such a fan favorite that there's almost no better storyline than him beating Miro, because he's going to get that contract and then he gets this unexpected, championship win. And yeah, they probably take it from him the next week, which is fine. But storyline wise, there's almost no better fit. It's going to be interesting. I'm just interested to see where they go with it. But the good news is we don't have to wait long, because approximately 48 hours from now, we'll know.
Yeah. So, you got anything else on there you want to chat about?
Oh man, I got a whole second half of my notes I didn't get through here. I wanted to say, if you haven't, anybody listening to this, if you haven't listened to Jericho's podcast episode with Malakai Black yet, go listen to it, because it was so good. I made a note that I wanted to call out. He talked about, Chris asked him, who in AEW would you like to work with? Who would you like to work with? Who would you like to face? And he mentioned a bunch of people, but he said, I wrote, Black shouted out AEW having great talent, but then specifically mentioned Butcher and Blade and called them, and I quote, so cool. So I thought that was really neat. And I mean, who knows? That could be a thing eventually.
That'd be sweet.
That would be awesome. I wanted, because we're always on Butcher and Blade here. So I wanted to make sure I talked about that.
As long as that's not a Malakai Black joining the Hardy family. Good Lord.
Yeah, no. Yeah. Oh my God. If anything, it's pulling Butcher and Blade away from HFO, which I'm okay with. I can't talk. Yeah. Which I'm okay with. What else? I mean, is there anything we didn't talk about? No, I don't think so. Nyla Rose's upside down spear on Chris Statlander was crazy as fuck tonight.
I forgot all about that.
I made a note of that. Paul White saving the day. Uncle Paul. Tony Schiavone comes out and saves Tony Schiavone and his son. And I didn't know his slogan was no more BS, which is fucking so good.
Uncle Paul.
Yeah, for those of you that don't know, Paul is Cody's uncle, so he'll be on the podcast at some point.
We're gonna figure out if that's true or not. Before next podcast, I'm gonna go talk to my grandfather. We're gonna figure this out.
I mean, you both have the size. He's 7 feet tall, 500 pounds, and you're pretty close.
I'm 6'5", 220, so.
If you watch our Twitch streams, you know that is 110% true.
That's episode 3. We'll catch back up in 2 weeks and talk Rampage, talk First Dance, talk some Dynamite, and be getting ready for our All Out, which at that point, we'll probably record one specially for All Out.
I think pay-per-views will have to. Yeah, I totally agree.
Yeah, get you an extra dose of Deadhorses and DDTs. I know you're all asking for it, so
as prescribed by your doctor,
as prescribed by your dentist, DMD. Thanks for listening. Go ahead, like, subscribe, share with your friends. Anywhere that they can listen to podcasts, we are there now, including Apple Podcasts now. So share around and make your mom listen to it. Thanks, guys.
Come by our live stream. We would love to hang out and talk wrestling with you. Bye.
Bye.
Do your normal intro, and I'm gonna interrupt you, and let's just roll with it however it happens, okay?
Okay.